Which 360 cameras and action cams have the best video quality and stabilization? We'll look at the video quality and stabilization performance of the Insta360 One R, including the 360 mod, the 4K wide mod, and the 1-inch mod. I know this video is a bit late, but some of the results were not what I expected, so I had to redo some tests, and in the end, they confirmed my original results. We'll compare the Insta360 One R against the Insta360 One X, GoPro MAX, Kandao Qoocam 8K, GoPro Hero 8, and DJI Osmo Action. We're going to compare them using the same non-distorted view that you normally see, not equirectangular views. And we'll compare videos, not just frame grabs, so you can see any video noise. First, let's compare it with the Insta360 One X. I used the Adobe Premiere No Stitch plugin for both of them. This maximizes the image quality by avoiding recompression until the final rendering. At normal viewing sizes, the One R and One X have similarly pleasant contrast. However, some users say that the One X looks flat. We see that the One R looks more punchy and its colors appear more vibrant. Now let's look at them up close. At 300% zoom, we see they look fairly similar. However, with the One X, I can see a little bit of the net around this basketball court fence, and the grass also appears to have more texture on the One X. On the other hand, if you look really closely, the One X has a little bit of color noise, those color blotches, whereas the One R looks very clean. I think this is because of the One R's higher effective bitrate, because it uses H.265 instead of H.264 at the same bitrate as the One X. Next, let's compare the One R with the GoPro MAX, stitched at full resolution in CINEFORM. At the normal viewing size, they both look appealing. However, the color of the grass is more accurate on the GoPro MAX. Now let's take a closer look. At 300%, it seems that the Max has more detail. The net is visible around the basketball court, and the palm trees at the back look significantly more detailed. Now let's compare the One R to the Kandao Qoocam 8K. Even at the normal viewing size, the Qoocam looks crisper and more detailed. In terms of color, the Qoocam's colors appear more accurate, although some users may prefer the more vibrant look of the One R. When viewed at 300% zoom, the Qoocam looks much more detailed. The net around the basketball court is clearly visible, as are the details on the palm trees. Now here are the GoPro MAX and Kandao Qoocam 8K side by side. The Qoocam looks more detailed. For example, some parts of the net are visible on the Qoocam, but not on the Max. However, the Max comes surprisingly close in my opinion. By the way, I'm still working on my full review of the Insta360 One R. If you want to see more info and tips about the One R, don't forget to hit subscribe and don't forget to hit the notification bell. And now we're going to test the stabilization of these 4 leading 360 cameras. Who do you think is going to win? I'm not sure. Maybe we should just watch the video. So as you can see, all 4 cameras have excellent stabilization, and it's not so obvious which one of them is better, if any. But if you look closely, not all of them have the same stabilization performance. Let me show you the equirectangular view so we can see the horizon more clearly. Incidentally, the equirectangular view also shows the dynamic range and the smoothness of the stitching at real-world distances. After reviewing the samples more carefully, I did find something that differentiates their performance. Now pay attention to this building here. With the Insta360 One X, there's a slight rolling from side to side. You can see the movement more clearly with this circle overlaid on it. With the other 3 cameras, the same building has almost no rolling. So the One R does have a little better stabilization than the One X, and so do the Qoocam 8K and GoPro MAX. This is impressive given that the One X has among the best stabilization among 360 cameras. Now let's compare the Insta360 One R's 4K wide mod against popular action cams. The Insta360 One R's 4K wide module is a non-360 partial fisheye lens paired with a 4K 60fps sensor with a similar field of view as the GoPro Hero 8. At first glance, the One R and Hero 8 wide mode appear very similar with similar contrast in hues, although the Hero 8's wide mode is a little wider than the One R's wide view. When we zoom in at 300%, they also appear similar with almost identical sharpness. The difference is that the Hero 8 has more aggressive sharpening at their default settings. I also compared the One R with the DJI Osmo Action. At a normal viewing size, the One R's wide mode looks somewhat similar to that of the Osmo Action, although the One R has slightly higher contrast and more vibrant colors, while the Osmo Action's colors appear more natural. At a 300% view, the One R 4K module and Osmo Action look almost identical, with about the same level of detail, although Osmo Action seems to have slightly more sharpening, while the One R 4K module looks like it has slightly higher contrast. Now let's compare the image stabilization for the 4K module. "4K 60fps pushes the limits of stabilization for the Osmo Action and the Hero 8. None of these cameras have stabilization that's as good as the 360 cameras we've seen. Nonetheless, they're showing pretty good stabilization. To help us see the differences, I played back the video at 50% speed. It's hard to pick a winner, but I think for me the One R has a bit smoother stabilization than the GoPro Hero 8 and Osmo Action at 4K 60fps. How about you? Which one do you think had the best stabilization? Let me know your vote in the comments. Now let's take a look at the Insta360 One R's 1-inch module. Like the 4K mod, the 1-inch mod is also a non-360 partial fisheye lens. It was co-developed with Leica and is paired with a 5.3K 1-inch sensor, one of the highest, if not the highest, among action cams. First, I compared it with the One R's own 4K mod. At the normal viewing size, you can see the wider field of view of the 1-inch module compared to the 4K. The 1-inch module also has more natural colors and contrast, while the 4K module has stronger contrast and more saturated colors. Now here they are at 1:1. Now I rescaled the 4K mod to have around the same viewing size as the 1-inch module. In this view, you can see that the 1-inch mod has far greater detail and better shadow detail than the 4K mod. The text on the sign is much more legible and there are many more leaves visible. Next, I compared the 1-inch to the GoPro Hero 8. At a normal viewing size, they have somewhat similar colors, although the 1-inch mod has more natural contrast. When we zoom in, we see there's really no comparison. Everything looks sharper and far more detailed on the 1-inch mod than the GoPro Hero 8. Next, I compared the 1-inch mod to the DJI Osmo Action. At a normal viewing size, they appear to have somewhat similar and natural looking contrast. However, the 1-inch mod's colors are more accurate. And when we zoom in, once more, the 1-inch looks vastly more detailed. It's not even close. Now let's look at the stabilization performance of the 1-inch mod. At this resolution and frame rate, all three cameras have great stabilization. I think the stabilization was pretty much even, but I like the stabilization of the Hero 8 a little bit better than the others. I'm almost done with my full review of the Insta360 One R, and I promise you're gonna learn a few new things. Thanks for watching, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in 360.